my god. Hey Avengers, welcome back to the initiative. This has been one of the craziest episodes thus far. Honestly, every time we watch a new episode, it just gets better. Let's talk about the jump scares with these visuals. My lord, they need to literally stop with that. The baby Vision? No. They said Baby Yoda did so well, so let's make Vision a baby. No. That was awful. Besides that, hello, we are going to do my makeup. My name is Vanessa, by the way. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Vanessa. I am a beauty content creator on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. This is my Marvel and makeup series now. Basically, this is where I do my makeup and I talk about Marvel because it's what keeps me going and it's why I'm not bored anymore. So here I am, and so many theories, and I've been talking to y'all on Twitter and I've been hearing y'all out about your theories on WandaVision. This show is incredible. If you're not watching, go ahead and watch these movies right here. These are the movies that you should be watching in order so you can know what to, expect from the characters of Wanda and Vision respectively, to just give you some background or backstory for certain characters that aren't in the MCU, such as these movies. These movies will kind of give you insight on a certain special character that came into the episode. So if you have not watched this episode yet, click out right now. You need to go watch it before you watch this video because I will be talking about spoilers. This is your spoiler warning. We are going to get down into the nitty-gritty of this entire episode. But yeah, let's get started. I got my water here because I get parched quickly when I talk about stuff like this, because I go a mile a minute, and if you hear a train in the background, that is the train that's behind my house. Listen, I got notes. I made notes this time. They finally introduced Billy and Tommy, who will grow up to be Wiccan and Speed, who will be in Young Avengers, which the MCU is setting up right now. We already have Riri Williams, who is Ironheart. We already got Miss Marvel, who is Kamala Khan, even though she's not in the Young Avengers in the comics, but they will probably try to tie her in because she is actually an Avenger at one point. We got Kate Bishop. They might be trying to build up Hulkling, and I think another one, if I'm not mistaken, is being introduced, but I'm not too sure. Also, America Chavez, who is going to be in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, so there's a connection. I'm very excited to see how the Young Avengers play out, but that will be in the near future, probably phase 5 or phase 6. So the episode starts out with Billy and Tommy as babies. Wanda and Vision are trying to stop them from crying. In sitcoms, when things like this happen where it's a situation and they need help, the main characters need help, a side character usually comes in, helps them, and saves the day. And this side character is Agnes, who is the nosy neighbor we already know, and who is also rumored to be another version of Agatha Harkness. So we will be seeing that very soon. Anyway, she comes in, helps them out with their issues, and helps them figure out how to calm the babies down. Vision says, oh no, did you wash your hands? Did you do this? Did you do that? Basically tries to stop her, which is not on the script. And so Agnes basically asks Wanda, should I take that take again? And she cuts, as if this is behind the scenes and as if the actor on set is oh, do we need to repeat that? So we got a little glimpse of Agnes glitching in the Matrix and Vision notices it. And he doesn't let it go like Wanda does. He gets in his head about that because he's very confused by it. While they're arguing back and forth, and Wanda is literally gaslighting him throughout this entire episode, he hears that there's no babies crying anymore. So he goes and helps the babies, and the babies are gone. Oh shit. Who took them? And I was like, okay, Agnes took them, whatever. And then you just see two little kids in the corner, Billy and Tommy. They aged themselves up. They aged themselves up to 5 years old. And then cue opening title sequence with Wanda as like a little baby, and then she grows up, and you see that in the photos. You see Vision growing up from a baby to growing up as Vision, and then you just see pictures of Billy and Tommy growing up to where they, you know, age themselves up to see like a little clip of them blowing out their birthday candles, which literally says 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 because they have to celebrate all the 5 birthdays that they skipped. So that was really cute. And the theme songs for the 60s and 70s, excellent. Kind of like this one, honestly. It was pretty good. It was a callback to a couple of different 80s sitcoms, well, sitcoms that started in the 80s and were in their prime in the 80s, such as Full House. Elizabeth Olsen is the sister of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, if you did not know that, who played Michelle on Full House. It pretty much was an ode to those sitcoms in the 80s that are very, very special. Very cute. I watched Full House when I was younger, so I thought that the reference was really cute. Cuts to what happened to Monica. So Monica comes back and she explains to the doctors and Director Hayward about her experience and how she felt in the Maximoff anomaly, which is what they're calling it. She explains that she felt like she was grieving and she felt a lot of pain. That entire anomaly is just Wanda's pain manifested, and she's created this entire different reality, has people under her spell basically trying to be the characters that she wants them to be. They have absolutely no control over their actions, and so they are inherently stuck and they don't know what they're doing there, they don't know how they got there, and they don't know how long they've been there, and they are basically just under Wanda's spell, and Wanda's basically in control of what they do. Darcy and Jimmy come in and help her out after being gone. The doctor shows Monica's x-ray and it's blank, alluding to the possible origin story of Monica as Spectrum or Photon. We don't know which character she might be yet. My theory for that is I think she caught some radiation from the Maximoff anomaly. It kind of affected her a lot, so affected her genes and perhaps made her a mutant. But originally Monica got her powers through the same kind of way that Carol did, which is through cosmic radiation, and in the MCU she got her powers through the Tesseract, which is the what stone is that? The Space Stone. And also hyperspace technology as well. I don't know what they're gonna do with Monica, but I hope that we see some type of an origin story in WandaVision rather than waiting to see her in Captain Marvel 2, which is coming out in 2022, I believe, which is next year. Might be 2023, depending on when Black Widow releases and depending on when Doctor Strange and Spider-Man releases, because they might get pushed back due to the pandemic, which absolutely sucks. They should just put everything on Disney Plus until further notice. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see after that. Sword begins discussing Wanda, who she is. We finally discovered the actual age of Wanda, and she was actually born in 1989. It's so weird because in Age of Ultron and in Civil War, they refer to Wanda and Pietro as kind of like kids, like teenagers, and they kind of allude that she might be like, so she's supposed to be in high school in Civil War, so it's weird. I think they aged her up because, I mean, it would be more appropriate because Elizabeth Olsen is actually like 32, I believe, so it would just make the most sense that she is around the same age as Elizabeth Olsen. They also show a little clip that we saw in Age of Ultron. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it's a scene where Wanda and Pietro are doing a protest. They're protesting in Sokovia, and this time they kind of blurred him out, Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver, away from the frame and kind of zoomed in on Wanda herself screaming and protesting. Then there was a little line Director Hayward asks Jimmy, because Jimmy was basically summarizing who Wanda is, if she has a funny nickname or a code name, and she doesn't yet. They haven't called her the Scarlet Witch yet, but they will. Probably in the last 3 episodes they will definitely call her the Scarlet Witch, and finally give her the nickname that she so desperately deserves, instead of calling her just Wanda Maximoff. Anomaly is called a hex, which is donned by Darcy.
What's a hex?
Oh, it's what I'm calling the anomaly because of its hexagonal shape.
And so she basically just like took hex and was just like, hex, she's a witch, so put 2 and 2 together, Boom. I feel like Darcy might come up with a nickname, and if she does, or if Jimmy does, that would be so cute. I would love that. Sword is basically dead set on antagonizing Wanda. Due to her reputation with the Avengers and with the Sokovia Accords, we already saw how that turned out. She basically said to the man, so they basically just don't like Wanda. They just don't like anybody who's on Team Cap anyway. So she was definitely on the run after Endgame, and the Falcon and Winter Soldier might be on the run as well. You know, they are basically criminals. I don't understand why they still got the Sokovia Accord still going. Is dumb to me, but we're not gonna get into that. Monica notices how much Sword and Director Hayward are antagonizing Wanda, calling her a terrorist. Monica just like, whoa, I don't think that's what's going on here. She defends Wanda, and I love her for that. At first hand, she felt Wanda's emotions when she was under the hex. She understands where she's coming from in a certain way. She understands her emotionally. So we will definitely see how that plays out. She definitely understands where she's coming from. So I don't think that she is messing with how Hayward is, you know, antagonizing her. It's awful. Like, literally piss off. I hate him. Jimmy and Darcy, they don't really like Hayward as well, so that kind of makes them bond with Monica even more.
I try not to speak ill of people.
Then allow me. Hayward's a dude.
Terrorist.
Because, of course, all three of them are just like to Hayward. They also do a reveal of Wanda stealing the Vision's body from Sword headquarters at like literally a week or two after Endgame. It was discovered that she took the Vision's body 9 days ago. And Monica just came back from Westview, and she was probably in there for like 3 days or so. We are not sure, but it was very recent, and they couldn't say that before for some reason. So did Hayward deliberately send her to Westview knowing that Wanda might have been up to something in that area? Did they know about it beforehand? That is messed up. I'm telling you, Hayward, Nope. I'm telling y'all, it's messing with my spirit. I don't understand it, and I don't appreciate it. We will get to the bottom of it. He will be dealt with. Sword, it seemed like they were experimenting on him because you saw like a little like cut of the scene. It's like kind of like torn apart. Something's up, I'm telling you. So Monica and Jimmy and Darcy discover that she is actively changing matter when her clothes come back bulletproof, like the vest that she was wearing before she went into Westview. So the pants that she was wearing in the 70s actually came back as 80% Kevlar. They can send in something that requires no change. Wanda won't be able to basically change it to appeal to the era that they're in currently. When Vision is working, he gets an email from Sword themselves and basically explaining to Vision what they have been doing and Darcy's discoveries, and basically explains what it is, but like everybody in the office kind of repeats it, like kind of like recites it like a cult, and it was so scary. Like, what the hell? Norm basically has like a conversation with him, and Vision just gets the idea to touch him. When he touched the computer and he touched him, he awakened Norm for a moment, and Norm was basically panicking, asking for his sister. He basically woke up from the hex that he was under, but also he mentioned that there's this woman in his head, like, she's in my head. But some people have theorized that it might have been Dottie instead of Wanda, or Agnes instead of Wanda being in his head and controlling him. That is something to be scared of. Let me do this real quick. So yeah, that email from Sword, that made me think, I don't know how it, like, I guess like the frequency picked up the email and the internet from outside of Westview. It made me think that maybe Vision might try to communicate with Sword in the next episode, since now that they have email. So we might see him communicating with them through the computer of some sort, especially if we go into the 90s in the next episode. We will definitely see that. So let's talk about Wanda really quick. Why steal Vision's corpse from Sword's headquarters? I feel like perhaps after seeing the aftermath of Endgame and seeing how that played out, and seeing how everyone, and I mean everyone, came back, it kind of got to her, because everyone got their partner or their best friend back or their family member back.
You took everything from me.
She got nothing back, and that probably messed with her a lot, and we will probably see how that affects her when they do flashbacks of the events prior to the beginning of WandaVision. It sucks. I feel so bad for her. My other question for her is, why does Wanda stop caring about concealing her powers? And maybe, just maybe, we are not seeing enough of Wanda's point of view. I feel like we are seeing everything at sort of a Vision and Sword point of view, but we haven't seen how Wanda is assessing all of these different things. Why does she stop caring about concealing her powers from Agnes? And why does she want to stop it in general? Like, why does it start until now where she wants to conceal her powers? Why not start from the very beginning? I feel like Agnes may have built a relationship with her and gained her trust enough to expose her powers. We still don't know much about Agnes, and hopefully we find out more in this next episode before 7, 8, and 9 start to begin. After Sword and Monica try to communicate with Wanda through that 80s drone that they send in, Wanda kind of sees through that and sees it as a threat when Director Hayward tries to fire the drone at her. Why would you do that? Literally, like, what? Why would he think that was okay to shoot a drone in someone else's reality? Do you really think that was gonna work, sir? I'm very upset. Like, why did he do that? Very terrible. It was terrible. Well, obviously Wanda stops that drone from decimating her and her family in Westview and comes out of the hex with her full Scarlet Witch outfit on. Her accent came back. The accent that we heard in Age of Ultron, but we stopped hearing towards the end of her arc in phase 3. So it's very interesting how they brought back her accent. The accent change didn't really bother me once I read up on why that happened. I read that Nat possibly taught her how to mask her accent when she was working with the Avengers so that nobody could recognize her when she's undercover and stuff. So it kind of makes sense since Natasha doesn't have an accent of her own. Kind of makes sense, but it does bring back some memories to, you know, Age of Ultron. It was really, really strong in Age of Ultron, but kind of isn't as strong as that. It's kind of like very slight. You can hear it, but like it's not too noticeable. I thought it was cute. Clearly, when she is confronting the director, Sword, and Monica, she is fully aware that she is in control of the Hex, and she asks them one time and for the last time to leave her alone, as they should. But Monica tries to get through to her, and I don't think Wanda realized that she kind of like protected her when she sent her out of the Hex, because she's alive and well, and Wanda was kind of shocked that she was still alive and well. Maybe people can't survive when they leave the Hex, and she was very surprised when Monica left the Hex unscathed. Maybe she already has her powers already. I just want to talk about the commercial really quick. The commercial is a reference to Lagos, Nigeria. In the beginning of Civil War, they go into Lagos to try to find Crossbones. They kind of try to protect everyone else from her because she is clearly very, very dangerous, but a lot of people do think that she is a threat, and Tony sees that firsthand and tries to stop it, and that's why he agrees with the Sokovia Accords. Very sad. That whole arc is very sad in Civil War, and you see how vulnerable Wanda is, and it's very interesting to her arc. So if you haven't seen Civil War, go ahead and watch that. So in the Lagos commercial, it's basically like a paper towel commercial, and it's kind of like the same logo as Bounty, and it says Lagos for when you make a mess you didn't mean to.
Lagos for when you make a mess you didn't mean to.
So the commercials are kind of like a coping mechanism for Wanda, because the previous commercials we saw the toaster, which kind of alludes to the bomb that killed her parents and almost killed her and Pietro, and the second one is the watch, which is the Strucker watch, which is alluding to the doctor who basically experimented on Wanda and Pietro and gave them their powers. The third one was Hydra Soak, which is also alluding to Hydra and a little Easter egg from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So every single commercial is just a little nod to something that terrorized Wanda in her life. I'm very excited to see the other commercials because they're so well done. Let's talk about Billy and Tommy for a second because they are just very confusing to me. Wanda can't control them. Agnes confirms that. She says, kids, you can't control them. And it's like, what? Like, Wanda controls everything. How can she not control Billy and Tommy? Wiccan and Speed, I don't know. It's very strange how they are in full control of their actions. They age themselves up on their own. Yeah, that dog, that little death, I don't know, something about it. People have said that maybe Agnes killed the dog, but I truly don't believe that. I don't think that Agnes is the antagonist here. I don't think she's at least one of an antagonist. I genuinely think she's there to help. I will be very upset if she is an antagonist, but I feel like I can kind of trust her now. But also Wanda has like a weird relationship with her now she doesn't even care if Agnes sees Wanda do spells or anything or manipulate the reality of Westview. So it's kind of confusing. I don't understand how that happened or how she got even comfortable with Agnes seeing her do these things, or even got comfortable with seeing Billy and Tommy age up. Billy and Tommy are aware of like the convenient sitcom changes because at one point Vision is not home because he's working, and then the kids say to themselves, it's Saturday, so how is he working? And Wanda's like, oh, it's Monday, and then they're like, no, it was Saturday. So they're aware of the time and the sitcom changes, much more aware than Vision was when he first came into the first and second episode. They are aware of Wanda's powers far beyond our own understanding. They are so freaking powerful that they know her more than she knows herself. They end up letting the two keep the puppy, and when the drone strikes and Wanda stops the drone from striking, the puppy runs away, and while they go and find him, they find him in the bushes, in Agnes's azalea bushes to be exact, and he poisoned himself probably, and the dog passed away. So a lot of people have theorized that maybe Agnes killed him or Ralph killed him, aka who could be Mephisto. So a lot of people think Ralph is Mephisto. I think that that's a great theory. It's definitely possible because we haven't seen Ralph at all. He's just this unknown being in the background. It's kind of like in sitcoms where there's usually that one character that's not in the scene. Like, I'll use Victorious for an example. Ariana's character Kat always talks about this crazy brother. It's kind of like having like those faceless characters that kind of just have like a strong impact on a certain character, the character being Agnes. So he may be Mephisto, we just don't know, but that is a great theory and I kind of agree with that as well. We cut to the house where Vision buries the dog and washes his hand. It's kind of like really sad because Wanda's like cleaning up the toys of Billy and Tommy's and the dog, and he starts talking like normal Vision, like MCU Vision, not WandaVision Vision, but MCU Vision, and he talks sternly at her and says that he spoke to Norm, and Wanda's like starts getting defensive as hell. This whole scene right here is where it gets ugly. So Wanda kind of tries to hear out what Vision is talking about. Vision kind of alludes to the fact that he knows that she is in control of certain things. She laughs it off. He's like, you can't control this argument. And she's like, can I? And then she rolls the credits on him. And you just see the credits rolling while they're still arguing. And it's so... I thought he was going to take the credit and throw it, like, or something. I don't know. No, he's figured it out. And if she talks to him more, he will figure it out for sure. And the entire time when Vision is basically talking to her and telling her like, you're hurting people, she's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, stop lying to me. He starts flying. I was like, like, oh no. And he yells at her and he's talking to her like he's never spoken to her before, and it's very shocking to her because, you know, Wanda and Vision have a very loving relationship from what we've seen. The entire time Wanda's just reassuring him that whatever she's doing for them and for their well-being. Vision is basically just telling her that he knows that this is not okay and this is against his will, and she had no right to take him and bring him back and put him back into pieces because he doesn't understand how he got there, number one, how he's there, and he doesn't know anything of what happened before. So what we know now is this Vision that we're looking at right now does not know that he died in Infinity War. One of the previews in the trailers, you can see that Agnes kind of tells him that he's dead, and he's just looking at her shocked because he can't believe it because, you know, he's dead. He doesn't know that he's dead. So that's going to be a very shocking and scary moment for him when he realizes that he's actually dead and he's not really alive, and that will probably give him more leeway to basically try to stop Wanda from continuing to create this reality for them because he knows it's wrong and it goes against everything he believes in. She basically keeps arguing back at him, gaslighting him, and she says that she doesn't even know how this started in the first place. When she says that makes me think, like, what, girl, what do you mean? Because you're the one doing this. So is Mephisto or Agnes the ones who convinced her to do this in the first place? How does she get this knowledge to create a reality? She does a lot to these people. She controls them, kind of wipes their memory and changes entirely the reality that they're living in every era. So it's really interesting. And then the doorbell rings and she says that she didn't ring the doorbell. So when she opens the door, who does she see? Not Aaron Taylor Johnson, not who I was rooting for, but Tate from American Horror Story, Evan Peters, aka Fox Quicksilver. Whoa, hello. If you've not seen X-Men Days of Future Past or X-Men Apocalypse, you might not recognize Evan Peters and understand why he's in WandaVision, but if you have, you know that this is a massive deal. Okay, Disney bought Fox, so they own the properties of X-Men now, and they own the characters of all of the X-Men that were in the Fox movies beginning in the 2000s. So they can do absolutely anything they want with these characters now. So Darcy sees a little piece of this scene and realizes that this isn't the Quicksilver that she knows from her universe. It is a different Pietro. It is Fox Pietro. And she says she recast Pietro? So she recasted him very much amphibian, very that. And he comes in very much like Uncle Jesse, the cool uncle. Comes in, you know, like tries to like warm up to her with like a quirky little joke.
Long lost bro, get to squeeze his stinking sister to death or what?
The multiverse begins. This is how the multiverse begins, and I'll tell y'all why. We already know that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is going to be a thing. How does the multiverse begin, you say? Wanda starts it, and we can tie back to the comics when House of M, where basically she gets told that her twins are not real. They're actually fragments of Mephisto, and she loses her mind and rips reality and basically says no more mutants and decimates all mutants from existence. Very much like the snap. Except it's not 50% of the population, it's 100% of all mutants, which was a big population in the comics, but we don't know how big that population is in the MCU since the mutants don't really exist. So my theory is that they will do a reverse and they will bring in every single mutant that we know and love from the Fox property and begin the multiverse, and that is how Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire come into play in Spider-Man 3. We just don't know, but a lot of the characters that are gonna come into play in the future are definitely from another dimension or universe. This episode, it is insane. that we're finally seeing the first moment of the multiverse being a thing. Now, finally get into your theories for this episode. I asked you guys on Twitter, I asked y'all on Instagram, what were your theories? What were things that you noticed in the event of WandaVision? So the first one I see right here is, I feel like Wanda ripped a hole through the multiverse unknowingly, and that could be why she looked confused. I also feel like director Hayward is sus. There's something off about him, and I don't trust him at all. Thank you, WandaVision stan, aka Jada's interlude. Now, I believe you. I believe this theory 100%. I said this, she may be ripping the multiverse apart unknowingly. She may not realize the power that she has because she doesn't know her powers that well. Even if Billy and Tommy basically ask her to resurrect the puppy and she doesn't even know that she can, but the twins beg her to do it because they know she can do it. They're basically telling her, like, I know you can do it, so do it. That was scary. That was a moment that scared me a little bit. I was like, damn, these little kids are trying to tell her to do what? Relax, little boys. She may be doing stuff that she might not even realize that she's doing. And she might have to get to that realization from someone like Monica or someone like Vision himself trying to tell her like what she's doing is wrong. But as you can see in this episode, that did not work out for Vision, and he was just getting gaslighted the entire time. I'm thinking Mephisto is incoming. Maybe they'll take pieces of the storyline where Mephisto was beat by Reed and Sue's kid, which would tie the universes. Either Wanda unknowingly brought X-Men Pietro into the MCU universe, or the twins did. Also, Agnes equals Agatha Harkness. I heard some theories about that aerospace engineer that Monica talked about, because when they're trying to build a sort of contraption that will get her back into the hex, she says that she knows an aerospace engineer that would be perfect for this job. And a lot of people thought that this was alluding to Mr. Fantastic, aka Reed Richards, who we know is going to come into place soon because Disney... That train was mad loud, and I know y'all heard that. That was scary. Yeah, we know that Fantastic Four is coming into place soon, so that might be a thing. I feel like they may be the post-credit scene. Perhaps they might be the post-credit scene for WandaVision or the post-credit scene for Loki. So the next theory is from Autumn Zoldyck, and I think that Dottie is somehow the main villain. They're trying way too hard to make the FBI director seem like the villain. I feel like they're gonna switch up on us. Also, when the one guy breaks character, he said she's in my head, which doesn't necessarily mean Wanda. I'm suspicious because when Wanda does her mind control, the victim's eyes turn red and no one has red eyes. I saw in one of these videos I was watching that there is a red haze throughout the episodes, and you'll see it in like certain clips where there's like a red haze behind them, especially in that scene where Vision is at work. There's like a certain red haze to that area, so I feel like it's getting more and more apparent, because you couldn't really see that in the 70s episode, but in this episode it's like very much like very stark red. And when Wanda goes back into her hex, it turns entirely red, and the Sword team just looks on and looks at how red the hex turns. And I don't know, something about that might come back. And definitely I noticed that, yeah, when Wanda does her mind controlled on the Sword agents, their eyes turn red. I feel like if all of them were under control of Wanda's spell in the hex, their eyes would be red. So that's not a bad theory. Dottie somehow being the main villain, I can definitely see that. She hasn't been discussed at all, especially in the last episode when they discussed every single citizen. They did not mention Dottie, which is very confusing. I feel like perhaps she might be in cahoots with director Hayward because he is sus. I don't like him, but he might not be the main villain. I really love this theory. Shout out to you, Autumn. I thank you. Next theory is from Fernanda, aka Phineas and Fern. Mephisto is definitely involved. Like, where is Ralph? We hear about him all the time and never see him. Like I said, there's always characters in sitcoms that don't really come into play, and they're always just very much in the background and never have a face to them. Certain characters, like some side characters, always talk about their parents, but we never really see their parents. We never see them, we never see a picture of them, but we always hear about like a little reference from that character that nobody knows about. So I feel like Ralph may be that, but also could definitely be Mephisto. So from Megan the Pony, aka Megan Noel, I feel like her kids are the ones who brought through Pietro, because at the beginning they ask if she has a brother and she replies he's far away. So I wonder if they called on him from far away. Not necessarily sure why they would do that though, other than just wanting her to have a brother and them wanting to have an uncle and them not realizing what actually happened. So I definitely see that. Well, Billy and Tommy seem to be some mischievous little kids. They gave each other this look right before they aged themselves up to 10 years old. So I feel like they kind of know what they're doing, but also they don't really know how much effect that they have on the reality that they're in. They don't know anything but Westview, so that might come into play as well, and it might confuse them, perhaps turn them into villains, maybe setting up the villains for Young Avengers. I feel like the show is literally going to tear us apart. Like, we are going to cry. There's something going on here that seems so deep and like far from a regular MCU storyline. Like, I feel like it just might be a very heartbreaking arc, and there's something about it that just doesn't sit right with my spirit, man. I hope that they can heal her before she harms anyone else, because we know that she is in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. We know that she may not get her redemption arc here, but maybe she'll get her redemption arc in that movie. But this will not end well for Wanda at all. Not even a little bit. I'm telling y'all right now. So that is the end of this video, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching, for tuning in. And I had to put this headband on for the end of this video because I realized how bad my hair looked, and I'm so sorry about it. Anyways, thank y'all so much for watching. And if you have any theories, of course, don't forget, comment down below. Comment down below your theories, your thoughts on the episode, and for the next episode as well. Comment down your theories for that. And let me know what you think about this video. Like this video if you liked it, and let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to join the initiative, subscribe to my channel, join the initiative, become an Avenger on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok if you have one. But yeah, that is it. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm so excited. I'm nervous. I'm too nervous for Wanda. I hope she's okay. I'm praying for her well-being as we speak. Okay, bye.